you are now going to write an information text. Grade 6s, you can ignore this block that says active and passive voice. We're not really going to be focusing on that. We are just going to be focusing on actually writing the information text. So when you look at the picture, to the right of the picture, it says in natural science, you have studied ecosystems. So an ecosystem is an ecosystem. Now you are going to write your own information text about an ecosystem. An information text is simply a text giving you details, giving you information. It's not a story, so it's there to inform you and give you knowledge. It says at number 1, you must look at the information on active and passive voice, but I've just said you don't have to. And then number 2, look at this example of an information text. So if you look at the picture, this picture is about an ecosystem in Grahamstown. Now for your mind map on day 4, you needed to read all about this ecosystem in Grahamstown. And now you are actually going to write about your own one. So if you look at the example, your ecosystem must also start with these 3 lines. It will say ecosystem in, and then your area, or you can say ecosystem at my house, ecosystem in my backyard, ecosystem in Welgemoot, depending on where this ecosystem is that you will be observing. Then observed on, so the actual date that you will be observing the ecosystem, and then by your name and surname. So it's basically like almost writing a poem. Title, when, and by who. Then you leave a line open and you start with your first paragraph. You will see in this example there were 2 paragraphs, and you will also write 2 paragraphs. So what does the first one say? The first paragraph describes what the learners saw in the ecosystem. Now, grade 6s, it's not only for us going to be what you see, but also what you smell, what you hear, and what you feel. So we are going to try include all the senses and not just what you see. So the first paragraph is all about observing, see, smell, touch, and hear. On page 139, it's the second paragraph. Now, grade 6 is for your second paragraph. It's basically your opinion. It's about explaining what you think of the ecosystem. Is it a good ecosystem? Is it healthy? Why is it good? Why is it bad? Giving reasons for your opinion. So it says the second paragraph explains the learner's opinions about the ecosystem. The last sentence gives an idea of how to solve the litter problem. So if you have an opinion, you say it's very dry or it's maybe too wet, then you must give a solution or 2 regarding the possible problems that you might have. The ecosystem in Grahamstown was described as quite healthy but very dry. More rain is needed. The aloes are healthy because they can grow in dry conditions. So they tell you that the plants actually suit the ecosystem. The grass is not green and it might be dying because of the drought. So again, they are referring to the dry conditions. More birds might be attracted when there is more rain. The amount of litter is a problem. More public rubbish bins are needed. So grade 6 is depending on the ecosystem you choose, you can then write your opinion. Maybe your grass is too long and then you say it needs to be cut. Or the swimming pool is covered or dirty and you can say how to solve that. So it's basically your opinion, but also then some solutions to possible problems you might have. If there's no problem in the ecosystem you are observing, then you just say, you haven't encountered any bad things or any problems. If you look at follow the steps, it says firstly select an ecosystem, then study it to write about it. Now I'm going to give you a worksheet that you need to sit with when you observe your specific ecosystem. And then it just describes to you, in your first paragraph, describe what is in the ecosystem. So we said we're going to focus on see, hear, touch and smell. Then you can start the paragraph with the area I studied is in, and then the province. So that's also how you must start your first paragraph, is in. So that's going to be the town, and then later is the province. In the second paragraph, write about what you have seen, explain what you saw, and make suggestions to solve any problems that you notice. So again, second paragraph is simply the opinion of what you saw, what you smelled, what you felt, and what you heard. Okay, and then it says about the passive voice, you can just ignore that. Check your work for any mistakes. Grade 6 is the worksheet I'm going to give you is your planning. Then you're going to be writing a first draft. Your next Moodle session will be the final piece. Remember to correct any mistakes in your first draft, check your spelling, and so forth. Okay, so basically grade 6 is you're going to be writing 2 paragraphs, information text, describing this ecosystem to me as well as possible. This is the top half of your worksheet. So you will see it says select an ecosystem and observe it. So grade 6 is if you can just go sit outside somewhere, maybe for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, or you may have a family farm or a special dam close to you, or just a forest or a walking trail. It can be any ecosystem. It does not have to be in your backyard, but that's obviously the easiest thing to use. But if you have another ecosystem that you want to write about, you may. So what do you see? And you make notes in pencil regarding what do you see. What do you smell? Now, grade 6 some of you won't be smelling anything. Some of you will be smelling flowers. Maybe your mom is busy cooking in the kitchen and you smell that. Or there might be some dog poo lying around and you smell that. Doesn't matter. Whatever it is you smell, you can write down. That's what's going to make the ecosystem very unique. Then we move to what do you hear and any other interesting observation. So here I always tell the learners to write about any animals they see, any insects, or just something interesting regarding the ecosystem. If you have nothing interesting, that's also fine. Then you just leave the block open. But try and write as much as you can. Remember, because you are now going to have to describe this ecosystem. And this worksheet will be then pasted in your book as your planning. And then after that, you only start with your first draft. And remember the title for your first draft, exactly like the book, you just use your information.